Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to be talking about the not so obvious ADHD traits. A lot of people just think ADHD is hyperactivity, oh it's just a boy thing, you grow out of it, and that's just not the case the majority of the time. So I'm going to talk about the not so obvious ADHD traits. But first, if you could smash me a big thumbs up down below and subscribe to this YouTube channel. So let's get on to the list that I put together and you guys put together about the not so obvious traits we wish other people knew about. So not a lot of people realise that ADHD is a condition that it really exacerbates our emotions. So having trouble controlling emotions is a trait that not everybody realises is a trait of ADHD. So the next one is chronic fatigue. A lot of people will not believe this and they'll be pretty shocked that I'm saying this, but not everybody is hyperactive. So yeah, chronic fatigue. Having ADHD is exhausting, so chronic fatigue is a major trait of ADHD. Sensory overload, being very sensitive to kind of sensory things, so like textures, light, sound, noise, crowd. So yeah, sensory overload, frequent sensory overloads. Depression is again another major trait of ADHD. Insomnia, oh, I have that and it is awful. So the next one is social phobia. So not a lot of people realise that a lot of people with ADHD also have social anxiety. We mask our ADHD traits because we don't want to stand out, we don't want to not fit in, and basically it just creates this phobia of being around people. So social anxiety is another major ADHD trait. So I have recently spoken about this and it's rejection sensitive dysphoria. That is another major ADHD trait that, again, I can't officially say everybody will have this as a trait, nor can I say any of these is going to be what everybody experiences. But a lot of people that I've spoken to on my Instagram, all over my social media, have kind of expressed their concerns and their kind of experiences with rejection sensitive dysphoria. So it's a very common ADHD trait. Being really disorganized. A lot of people would mistake it for being lazy or messy or just unmotivated, but the thing is, it's a huge kind of trait for ADHD. So yeah, being disorganized is a major trait for ADHDers. Again, the next one is excessive talking. So being really chatty and basically just like not shutting up, basically. That is another trait that often goes kind of like missed and just ignored. So another one is social exhaustion. So again, a little bit like a social phobia and social anxiety, being around a lot of people kind of makes us very anxious and we become very overwhelmed, and we almost have to like pump ourselves up and motivate ourselves, because it's like, who do I have to be? How can I fit in? Am I going to be rejected? And our minds are just constantly on the go. It is totally mentally, physically and emotionally draining. So this is a major trait for me, but it's overthinking everything, and I mean everything. But when I say overthinking everything, I mean every decision I've ever made, there's always got to be like the worst case, you know, what can happen if, or like what if I don't do it, and then if I do it, and what if I don't do it. And my brain is just constantly like thinking of the worst case scenario and overthinking everything. Real low self-esteem can be a major trait of ADHD. So a lot of people with ADHD are hypercritical, so about themselves, so they have a lot of self-doubt. They, you know, they are very critical about what they look like, how they act. You know, we're not successful because we don't do this. We're very judgy about ourselves. So being hypercritical and having low self-esteem can also be a major trait for ADHD. So I've spoken about this before, but hypersexuality and hyposexuality are kind of traits of ADHD also. Or you don't have to have ADHD to be able to experience any of those, but they are traits of our hyperactivity. So another one is hypersensitivity. So we are really emotionally sensitive. We don't just feel emotion, like we feel it like intensely. just not just our kind of emotions, we feel other people's emotion and we absorb it like a sponge. So, you know, hypersensitivity, emotional sensitivity, that is another huge trait of ADHD. So I have spoken about this one before, so I'm not going to go in too much depth. Alexithymia, so that's just basically having no words for how you're feeling, or kind of not understanding emotions, not really being able to put words to emotion. That is what alexithymia is. And actually there is a link between ADHD and alexithymia. Again, I have spoken on it, so go back and watch some previous videos if you don't know what I'm on about or you're interested in it. So yeah, alexithymia. So the next one is low frustration tolerance. I mean, I wouldn't say personally that that isn't an obvious trait, because I think that was kind of like one of the major traits that I had that kind of really stuck out to a lot of people, is my inability to really just tolerate people and frustration. Like, I can't hold it in. Like, if you annoy me, then I'm just gonna blow like a volcano. Like, I can't tolerate stupid people and their stupid behavior and their stupid comments. Like, I literally just can't tolerate any of that. So the next one is an addictive personality. Anxiety, again, is another huge trait, but you know, a lot of people without ADHD also have anxiety, so it's not like a trait that would definitely be like, oh my god, you have ADHD. But those of us with ADHD do have a lot of anxiety and are more prone to depression and social anxiety, and having having anxiety disorders. This is another huge trait that I personally feel like just gets overlooked. Like I've just said, hyper-focusing, hyper-fixating and obsessiveness can also be a trait of ADHD that isn't so obvious to outside people. Another like huge trait of mine, which is mood swings. I can just swing like a pendulum, and my moods are just like this. It's like a roller coaster being in my life, living with me, being with me, because my moods can change in like literally like spontaneously. Time blindness, oh my goodness. I am actually going to do a more in-depth video on this, because this affects me again every single day, and I have so many experiences that I can totally kind of relate to with other people. And I know that I think opening up and talking about my time blindness will definitely help other people realise they're not alone. So yeah, time blindness. So there is a scientific kind of background to this, and I'm not going to go into it now because again, I don't have the facts, the statistics and all of that with me, so I'm not going to really go into too much depth. But immaturity, being kind of immature for your age, and again, it's not a huge trait, but it can be an indicator that there is a kind of a neurological or a behavioural kind of disorder, condition there. Because yeah, I am going to do it again. There are so many videos I want to do, but just trying to gather the information is just too much and overwhelming for me. But I will eventually get around to doing it. But yeah, this is a huge trait too. Forgetfulness. So this one, again, I've spoken about before. ODD, which is Oppositional Defiance Disorder. This goes really hand in hand with ADHD. Not everybody, but there are a huge, like a majority of people that also have this as a side, kind of like, you know, when you have a main meal, this is the side plate of ADHD. Definitely not a dessert, because it's not a good thing, but it is definitely like a side order with ADHD. And personally, I 100% would say that when I was younger, I would definitely meet the criteria for ODD. Unfortunately, like now, not unfortunately, I'm pretty fortunate, I haven't found myself in a position where I feel that I wanted to be defiant, whereas when I was growing up, like my whole school experience was built on defiance and like, no, I don't want to do that, I want to do it my way. You know, I would 100% would be diagnosed with ODD alongside my ADHD when I was a bit younger, whereas now I kind of feel where I work for myself, I have my own little side hustle going on, and I do like things that I want to do. I don't feel like I need to be defiant because I'm doing my things, and like if I'm going to be defiant, I'm only going to be arguing with myself, and I do that anyway. So yeah, defiance isn't an issue now, but when I was younger it was a huge issue, like causing so many family arguments, you know, excluded from school. Basically, ODD, Oppositional Defiance Disorder, is a huge indicator for ADHD too. So maintaining friendships, personal relationship difficulties. I'm going through this now. It's coming up to Christmas and I am impulsively shopping. I'm like overbuying stuff, overspending. I had a budget, gone way over that. So yeah, impulsive shopping, being addicted to shopping. See, all of these little things, they all combine. They're all little ADHD quirks. Being shy, you wouldn't know, would you? You wouldn't think it. Being shy, having intrusive thoughts frequently, and I mean frequently. A lot of people do have intrusive thoughts without ADHD, but I mean the severity and the frequency is very often and very severe. So yeah, being really indecisive, me. I don't even need to decide that that's me because I know it's me. Daydreaming, frequently interrupting others, me. Losing stuff often, me. So being super clumsy, oh my god, there needs to be a video on this because yeah, being clumsy. Binge eating, poor hand-eye coordination. Can you see I move my hands all the time? Oh. Keeping up with hygiene routines, yeah. Difficulty remaining focused, having random bursts of energy and motivation. I can't even say that word. Basically, I'm just gonna explain it. Biting the thing, like the skin around your nails, your knuckles, like biting your nails excessively, that could be down to ADHD and anxiety. Trouble multitasking. So I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this kind of, I hope it's short and snappy. I'm gonna try and keep it short and snappy. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Remember to like and subscribe down below, and yeah, like I say, I'll see you next time. Bye.